live from our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the A1 Trading Daily Show. Whether markets are rising or falling, we're here to keep you up to date with the latest market news. Join us as we trade currencies, commodities, and indices live, Monday through Friday.
Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream. We are here in the studio ready for another day of trading markets and of course coverage of all of said things. I've even got my A1 trading shirt on today, so I am in spirit for the show here. Got my spirit wear, if you will. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you to everybody who's joined us on the live stream, and we've got lots of people in the chat today. You guys are live and awake for this CAD news that we've got coming up. Let's make sure we cover before. I like to make sure we have it on deck. So we will be going up, of course, to the news and watching the reaction, but we'll stick around afterwards. And that's where things usually get more interesting. People ask me all the time, prior to a big news like this, they'll ask me, is it a buy or is it a sell? And in my personal opinion, I've been doing this for a long time. That to me is much more associated to gambling is going to be. And anybody who tells you that they know what the news is going to be is kind of full of it. I've seen news do just some crazy things. And sometimes news will shoot up in one direction and in the same candle be way down here. So, did somebody know that that was going to happen? That's what I'm saying. Gold is not gold. Well, gold is included in that, but news can move markets across the board like crazy. I was going to mention that gold is a great example of this. We've seen many times where gold just shoots one way and goes back the other way on a news event. So you have to be careful with news. But of course, news also has a really, really cool characteristic that I actually love about trading, which is news creates volatility. And I love trading volatility. I just don't like trading the spike because, again, that becomes very spready, becomes very hard to trade profitably. I like to trade the aftermath where volatility is still elevated, movements are abound, and I'm able to capture some great risk reward trades. So let's talk about this upcoming CAD news. We have CAD unemployment numbers. We're getting some jobs numbers here today for the Canadian economy. Now, here's something you guys should know. Usually, CAD news comes out at the same time as NFP, the first Friday of each month, but not always. And in this case, you can see it is the second Friday of June here that we're getting CAD unemployment numbers. Of course, how impactful will this be to markets, especially if you're someone in the audience and you're saying, Nick, I don't trade any CAD pairs. Why does this matter? Well, you may not have been trading CAD pairs yesterday when suddenly, the day before, when suddenly gold dropped off a cliff when the Canadian economy or the Canadian central bank announced that they were going to be rate hiking, right? Here's the thing, guys. When it comes to markets, they all somewhat move each other. And so it is important, I think, still to pay attention to, even though you may not be trading a CAD pair this morning, keep an eye on news that could move all markets in case there's some sort of sudden surprise. So today we are expecting unemployment rate to go up to 5.1% from the previous 5%. And then, of course, in terms of previous data, we had 41.4 thousand jobs created. We're forecasting today, or at least analysts are forecasting for 21.2 thousand jobs. A surprise here will move the markets, whether it be the Canadian dollar, but also other things like perhaps even gold and other markets will certainly be impacted. So there we go. There's the rundown. Let's jump into some charts here and get started. I'm going to focus CAD pairs the first part of the stream. So let's start with the big one, dollar CAD, right? We got the two giants over here in North America. We've got the Canadian dollar and we've got the United States dollar. And let's take a look at how things have been progressing on the 4-hour chart first. So we're going full screen here. And what you'll notice is that the dollar CAD has had a tough time, meaning the dollar has been very weak and the Canadian dollar has been strengthening. Remember, guys, we talked about it. the Bank of Canada raised interest rates suddenly, unexpectedly. It caused a massive surge in the Canadian dollar, which put pressure on the dollar relative to the CAD. So we are watching today to see if that is going to continue or perhaps reverse on softer Canadian jobs numbers. That's what we're here for. We're combining fundamentals, we're combining technicals. And if you enjoy my streams, or I should say our streams, it's the A1 Trading Show now. If you enjoy the A1 Trading Show, do me a quick favor, hit that thumbs up button down below, and let's talk technicals here a little bit with this Canadian dollar against the US dollar. I'm going to drop down to the 1 hour chart and keep up with me here, guys. This is kind of interesting because as we go into an event like this, if you're watching dollar CAD, right, dollar CAD is just now hitting a level of support, which has been pretty consistently held for the bulls. Take a look. If we look left here, you can see a ginormous wick. This, by the way, guys, was the Bank of Canada's announcement to raise interest rates right here, this red candle. You can see, however, that price rallied off of that, held strong, but now has creeped its way back down. If we're watching the dollar CAD here this morning, whether you're a bull or a bear, it will be very interesting to see if we get something like strong jobs numbers from the Canadian economy. We could perhaps see the breakout. If we see the breakout, traders watching this on the short side would probably love to see it because you might get some runs. And what I mean by that is something like this: break underneath, retests, continuations as new sellers enter the market. Does that make sense, guys? What we just laid out with the dollar CAD. If that was helpful or that made sense, do me a quick favor and type yes in the chat or Y in the chat, whatever you want to put in there. Just let me know that that made sense and that I'm going at a good pace so that I can continue on to our next currency pair. I'm going to take a quick look. I'm going to jump to Euro CAD, also an interesting pair recently, which has not done as bad as dollar CAD. We've actually seen the Euro CAD explode higher as the euro was pretty strong. Thank you guys, by the way, for the yeses in the chat, letting me know that this is we're going okay. We've got just a few minutes, so I'm going to try and keep up the pace, but we're going to look at a couple pairs prior to the event. Now, in terms of dollar CAD, I mentioned I'm not, for these CAD pairs, I'm not making a prediction before the news. That's not what I do on this channel. I think that that's gambling. I'm waiting for the reaction to perhaps trade the aftermath on some of these CAD pairs. And there's a lot of homework we need to do before I place a trade. So buckle up. Let's keep going. Euro CAD, again, topped out around this level of resistance up here around 1.4423 and has since then sold off. Now, in terms of where we're at here with this, Euro CAD, look at the 4 hour chart. We got to be careful here because this chart is still very bearish overall. We could actually even extend out our level of resistance up to this area. If you're a seller on Euro CAD, and we do get some upside here today, meaning perhaps you're looking to be bullish CAD, but let's say today we have weakness in the CAD that causes the euro to strengthen relative to the CAD, right? A little confusing there. If you're flipping things around. Let's get this green zone. I don't know when this must have been drawn in 1942 when that zone was drawn. We're looking at Euro CAD here on the 4 hour chart now, and I've marked a 4 hour level of resistance that, if you're bullish CAD and we get a retracement here, meaning euro strengthens relatively, watch out for this level because this level has been a key resistance point. Yes, that would kind of be a higher low, but I think you're reaching there in my personal opinion because you've still got this downward trend, and a trend's a trend until it ends, right? For me, if you're a bull Euro CAD, breakouts, right? If this happens, if the opposite to my idea happens, meaning we break higher, I'm out of that. If I'm short on Euro CAD, I'm out of there. If I'm looking to get long, this is what I'd be looking for: breakouts and then pullbacks. That's how I would play that personally. In terms of a technical analysis perspective, this chart still looks very weak on the 4 hour chart. And now on the 1 hour chart, sure, I think we have room to squeeze back up and possibly retest this level. These candles are coming in strong, so we'll have to watch these closely. Guys, I've got just over a minute. Give me a moment to set up my chart so that we can watch the reaction to this news. I've got Euro CAD in the top left here, and I like to watch news releases on the 15-minute chart. So let's do this. We're going to do dollar CAD on the top right so we can keep tabs on this one. Of course, everybody wants to talk about the dollar CAD if we're going to talk CAD pairs. Let's also put CAD yen bottom right here. CAD yen will be right here, and CAD CHF will be our last one that we're going to put in the bottom left. Now remember, News is coming out in 30 seconds here. We will see perhaps a spike. Just depends on what the numbers are like. Sometimes we get a big one. Sometimes we don't get much at all. Just depends what the news is. So after, don't go anywhere because we've got more stuff to do. The trading, the actual stuff happens after the news. People always leave after the news. And I'm like, you're missing the part where we actually look at stuff. Here we go. Breaking news. All right, guys, and let's see if we get anything interesting for CAD numbers here. And there goes Euro CAD up. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. We're getting some movement. CAD yen down pretty big. Dollar CAD jumps. Euro CAD jumps. CAD CHF and CAD yen seeing a decline. Let's take a look. How many pips are we talking Euro CAD? That's a move, guys. That's 33 pips here on Euro CAD, and on the dollar CAD, we're seeing 26 pips. I mean, those are moves. So a big pop here today, and probably signaling weaker than expected jobs, right? Let's go take a look. See if we can, yep, there it is. 5.2% unemployment, showing a slowdown in the Canadian jobs market. And also to complement that data, we see, wow, what a surprise here this morning, guys. So what we are looking at, this is big. In case you're newer to this stuff, let me break this down really quickly and really simply. We were expecting to add 21.2 thousand jobs in Canada. I'm not Canadian, by the way. I don't mean we as in me and my Canadian brethren. I'm not from Canada, I'm from US. The Canadians were expecting to add 21.2 thousand jobs. We got minus 17.3 thousand jobs. So we lost jobs. They lost jobs, not we. 5.2% unemployment, so ticked up from 5.1, and the previous, which we, I'm sorry, it ticked up from the previous, which was 5%. Forecast for 5.1, we got 5.2% unemployment. So makes sense that we're seeing a reaction here to the weak side for the CAD, right? The Canadian dollar would make sense that we see weakening there because, again, a currency oftentimes trades on the strength of its underlying economy. And so we see the CAD weakening here this morning. And here's the thing. You know, if I'm looking to trade this, if I'm looking to trade one of these pairs, for me personally, it'd probably be dollar CAD. Now, let's go back to dollar CAD and take a look here. I mentioned some things here. If you're looking at the 1 hour chart, so again, we hit support and we held support, but be very cautious as this thing retraces, not to get overly bullish in my personal opinion, because this is still a downward trend. We still see this market very weak overall. And so, you know, I would just caution, you know, bulls out there. Yes, we bounced. Yes, we found support. But remember, the dollar is, in my opinion, you know, we could take a look at something together, guys. Let's look at this. So let's go look at, we just added the central bank forecasts. And Chandler, if you don't mind, if someone would let me know if we have any support reps in office right now, that would be huge. I want to make sure before I send anybody to go get something that we have somebody here. Central bank forecasts. I want to show you this. So this is our newest feature that we added to the EDGEFINDER. And I want to look at the dollar and I want to compare it to the Canadian dollar because it's a really interesting study. Hallie is here. Okay, cool. Hallie's got us. So check this out, guys. When we're looking at central bank forecasts, this is what it's all about. At the end of the day, people ask, why do the jobs numbers move the markets? They're confused by it. Guys, it's all about the central banks and what their plan is to do next. We've made a simple to follow forecast sheet. This is all automated. This is our software that pulls this data in. When we compare the US to Canada, this is really cool. We can see that rates in the United States, we're currently in, by the way, we're in Q2 of 2023. This is forward looking to see where things are expected to go with our interest rates, okay? They're expected to stay elevated and eventually come down. Inflation is expected to slowly creep down, okay? Let's look at Canada and compare notes here. Canada is expected to keep rates elevated. It's kind of a difference in central bank studies. Okay, so I want to ask you guys in the audience, help me out with this. I want to make sure that this makes sense because I know this could be confusing for people who are wandering into our streams for the first time and don't do any fundamentals or anything like that. I need your help with this. Okay, we just looked at the US, and remember, higher interest rates, higher rates mean higher currency. Okay, usually, right? A stronger tightening central bank, meaning they're raising rates, they're making everything more expensive. That causes the currency to appreciate usually, right? We see that kind of arching and coming to a close in the US. But let's compare notes to Canada. Canada does not have that same effect. They're not arching, they're staying elevated. Do you guys see how this paints a picture where the CAD could actually be a stronger currency compared to the US in the coming months? Does that make sense to you guys in the chat? Let me know. Type yes if that concept makes sense. I know most traders do not know much about fundamentals. They're newer to this stuff, and I hope that you can learn something about them on my channel. Does that make sense in the chat? Type yes if that made sense to you. We are comparing the central bank forecasts for the United States versus Canada. And because these things are so impactful to the markets, this gives me a generally bearish outlook on the dollar CAD, meaning the US outlook is, okay, we're going to probably start to bring our rates down, and Canada's not there yet. Okay, interesting, right? Does that make sense? Cool. We got some people saying yes in the chat. That's great to know that that made sense to you guys. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, we're going to look at more charts. Don't worry. We'll look at gold. We'll look at the indices, see what's going on. I've got a lot of things I want to look at today, but I wanted to get through that concept as this is something we just added to the Edge Finder. And if you guys do not already have access to the Edge Finder, we are currently on the very last day of our summer discount sale, where you get 50% off our Edge Finder and MetaTrader software package. If you guys do not have access to this stuff and you've been watching the channel, this is the last day to get access to the Edge Finder at this incredible summer sale discount price. Check it out. I'm going to show you on the screen here the summer sale discount. There it is. Take a look. You get access to the Edge Finder Pro, which includes our central bank forecasts now officially just launched. Also our seasonal trends, our retail sentiment, the smart money tracker, which gets you access to COT data. And right now, you also get the MetaTrader for robots and indicators that we offer completely free with your purchase if you do take advantage of the sale. Again, today is the last day. It is Friday. We're saving $840 plus if you choose to purchase today. Tomorrow, the price will be going back up. So do not miss out. If you've been thinking about it, if you've been watching the channel, this is the last chance. So take advantage. And right now, how can you do it? Click the link that's in the chat. It looks like this right here. Send a message. Wow, my shirt matches the logo right below. That's so cool. Send us a direct message right here. We've got somebody on deck who can hook you up with that sale price before you miss it. Click this link. This is what it's going to look like when you click it. Just so if you're confused by what happens, you click it. It opens up a chat window. Click chat now and just click tell me about the summer sale offer. And someone from our team will hook you up with a copy of the Edge Finder for the best price of the summer. Do not miss it. Today is the last day. So there you go. All right, let's go back to the charts for a second. Somebody mentioned that gold was moving. So let's go have a look at gold and see if we can find out anything interesting here. Okay, look at this. Wow. So again, remember what I was saying earlier, guys, how just because it's CAD news doesn't mean it can't move gold. Well, here it goes. Gold popped on the initial release here as jobs numbers showed concern in the Canadian economy, right? We lost jobs in Canada and we saw gold react positively. Why? Jobs numbers being bad typically is a bullish catalyst for the gold market. And I'll show you in our own calculations of the Edge Finder. Behind the Edge Finder, we have, we have an entire like algorithm or scoring system where we actually take when we're talking about jobs numbers, unemployment specifically, we've identified and in our scoring measure a tick up in unemployment as positive for gold, right? If unemployment is rising, we typically give that a bullish reading in the Edge Finder. And so recently we can see with that jobs number coming out, kind of concerning, we saw a pop up on gold. Now, from a technical perspective, you can see we are rejecting this area around 1970, but we'll watch to see if that can break out higher today. If that happens, again, I am still bullish on gold. I'm watching for breakouts or possibly retests. But again, probably my core thing here on the 1 hour chart, I'm watching this level to see if we can break high. If we can get through it and close above it, I'll look for continuations. Okay. So yeah. There are important news going out and you're showing ads, Nick. This is not I'm back. Sorry, guys. I actually exited, or I backed out of the screen. Sorry about that. What I was saying is that this is, very relevant to what we're talking about here in terms of the news that just came out. We're talking about the impact to certain assets based on jobs numbers, right? So even though I do show the Edge Finder often, it's not just an ad. It is genuinely used for the analysis behind these streams. Anyways, today, again, we had unemployment numbers come out. They were weak for Canada, which caused some weakness in the Canadian dollar, and it also caused an interesting spike up on the gold market. So yeah. Juan Diaz says a requested info on your sale. Juan, sorry about that. Sometimes we have literally a staff of people here that are on deck right now. Juan, if you send a message right now, somebody is in the office who can help you out with that. Sometimes we get after hours messages and it's like the middle of the night for us. So it takes us a little time to get back to you. But you can either wait for us to email you back, or you can just send a direct message to our live chat right now. Chandler or James, if one of you guys would drop the link real quick for Juan or for anybody else who would like to access the sale here before it ends. Again, I don't want anybody to miss it that wants info. And so here it is. Direct message us right now and someone will take care of you, because I know that they're on the other side of this room. They're out there in the office. They can help you out. So yeah, again, I'm still interested gold longs. I want to talk S&P, guys. I've been wanting to buy on the S&P 500. Today we see jobs numbers positively, somewhat. Well, again, it's Canadian jobs numbers, slightly impacting the S&P, but not too dramatically. Here's the 1 hour chart. I've been watching this pretty closely, guys. I am interested in being bullish S&P 500. I would like a pullback if I could get it. I'm not going to chase this trade, but I'm looking for pullbacks if we get something here. It is Friday, so, of course, you pick up at a little bit of extra risk holding it over the weekend. But I'd be interested in pullbacks, and that's something that I'm watching out for on the S&P. Again, we're also breaking through highs here. So possibly if we close strong, perhaps Monday I'll be looking at this. It just depends where that pullback comes into play for me to possibly look to join. But I am bullish equities. I've been bullish equities, and I'm looking for an opportunity. So another one is, of course, the NASDAQ, which has been on fire here. And look at this one, breaking beautifully just above previous resistance. Again, this thing just does not want to quit. And it's been a really, really strong ride for those of you guys who are watching indices. Congrats if you're on the long side. We've been very bullish this year. The indices have been very, very rewarding. I've talked about this in the past, but my primary trading, when it comes to where I allocate the most capital to, the most capital that I have goes into trading the US indices and gold. Those are the two things that I am the most comfortable trading. They're the things I like to trade the most. I also trade things like options and FX. But in terms of capital allocation, the primary amount of my personal trading funds goes towards trading the indices because that's what I am most comfortable, what I feel I know the most about trading. And so I've been riding these indices waves. Of course, I don't have an open trade right now on the NASDAQ, but I'm very impressed with price action and would like to be in a possible pullback play. So I'll keep an eye on this one. Another trade I'm actually in right now, speaking of currencies, is I'm in this euro yen trade, which was going beautifully until this morning. You can see it's pulled back a lot, but I'm still in this trade. My stop loss is still below structure. Though truthfully, I'm going to watch how these candles close. Had I been watching this, I might have even trailed my stop. But if I'm being so honest, I probably would have trailed it here. So I might have been triggered out. I have not trailed my stop loss yet, but I intend to today. As it is Friday, we've got this one running. If you guys are not familiar with what our trade alerts look. So again, here is, just so you know, I'm not just saying this. Euro yen was called out yesterday around just after stream. I picked up a long trade on Euro JPY, picked it up, pull back on this 1 hour chart. I mean, it launched off of that level, has given back some of its gains as we speak, but I liked it for several reasons. I like the COT data showing strong favoritism towards the euro, very weak on the yen, right? ECB remains very hawkish, elevated, very tightening monetary policy focus, whereas the Bank of Japan is the exact opposite. Retest of support on the 1 hour chart, and I put my stop just below market structure. So I called that trade out inside of the group. At this point, what am I going to do with the trade? I'm going to let it run. I'm going to see if this level holds. And again, if we do get any rejection on these coming wicks, we're looking at a 1 hour chart, by the way. For those of you guys, if you ever want to check, you can just see it in the top left. I know it's a little bit small. I picked it up off the hourly chart. I intend to trade it going forward off the hourly. And I'd like to see this candle close with some wicks off the bottom. And if so, I'll look to just tighten my stop loss. Again, as I mentioned, I would ideally like to go ahead and trail my stop loss. I should have trailed my stop loss before stream just below this area. So to be completely transparent, had I done that, I probably would have been trailed out by now. But I'm just gonna watch how this candle closes and then make a decision after stream ends. If you guys are members inside of the Discord, just keep an eye on the swing trades channel. This is where I'm taking this trade. Of course, I also have my position in options trades, but right now I'm focusing on this euro yen trade, which is a swing trade for me, short-term swing trade. Usually my swing trades are like anywhere from 1 to 5 days. Just depends on how well the market's moving. So this is going on day 2 for this trade that I shared inside of the group. So how's NASDAQ 100 looking for you, Zolani? So NAS, I want to be long, and I'm looking for an opportunity to be long without chasing. So again, we've broken through the highs. This is a beautiful start to the day. I am not long currently, though I do have some options trades that I'm doing that are going quite well. And again, yeah, I'm actually sharing my options trades now. I don't know. Does anybody do me a quick favor? Anybody trade options? Type yes or no. I know most of you guys do not trade options, but if you do trade options, let me know. I'm not talking about binary options, by the way. Binary options, I think I don't know very much about them. All I know is that there's so many sketchy brokers that do that. I'm talking about US stock brokerage options that are incredibly regulated. And, yes, they can be very risky if you're trading ridiculously. But for me, I'm trading options on a very low risk basis. It's something that I'm interested in and have done for a while. So, well, I shouldn't say for very long. It's a newer thing. This year I started learning options, but it's been fun. I apologize, Nick. I was eager to know your analysis about news. Oh, no problem. I understand. I understand. We get people who all the time criticize that we have ads on the channel, and to be completely fair, or to be completely honest with you guys, the show wouldn't be possible without the promotions and ads that we run. It just wouldn't happen. We have a lot of people involved, a lot of equipment, a lot of costs associated with doing these live streams. So to you as a viewer, they're free, and we want to make sure that that's always the case. You don't have to pay us anything, but just by being here and hitting the thumbs up button, you're supporting our streams, made possible by sponsors, made possible by the products that we offer to traders who are looking for market data, that sort of thing. And again, just hit the thumbs up button. It's a great way to support the stream. Real quick, guys, we are going to be joined here in just a moment by Kenzo. But before we do, we're going to run a quick commercial break on how you can get the EDGEFINDER for free if you sign up with 8cap using our link. Check this out. It's really cool.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans, if you're interested in getting free access to the EDGEFINDER or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, and we are back and joined by the one and only Kenzo. How are you, Kenzo?
Great, thanks, and you, man.
I'm good. How's the I ask you this all the time because it's interesting. You're on the southern hemisphere, I'm on the northern. What's the weather like there today? Is it cold still?
Yeah, it's getting like seriously cold now. We're getting in the middle of the winter, so it's getting cold.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's just now getting warm here in the U.S. So it's always an interesting dynamic just to have the same thing with my Australian friends that will sometimes come on the show, or anybody from the southern hemisphere. It's always opposite. So good to have you back on the show, Kenzo. Kenzo, if you guys are not familiar, he comes on our show on a regular basis once a week. and goes over a mix of technicals and fundamentals. You know, a lot of people on my channel, Kenzo, they love to say that South Africa has some of the best traders. And after our time together, I can definitely confirm you are one of the most knowledgeable people that I've had on the show, and it's good to have you back.
Okay, that's great, man. That's great. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And Kenzo, tell me, what are you paying attention to today? What you know, we had some news here from well, a lot of Canadian news this week. Are you watching any currency pairs, CAD pairs, gold indices? What's on your watch list today?
Actually, this week I was enjoying Euro JPY, GBP JPY, and GBP USD, because GBP, it was a bit stronger actually this week. So we saw the market pushing to the upside. For Canada, I checked the interest rates, and also today there was employment change, which was actually bad. So I'm also, I think maybe that I'm expecting a buy. Actually, we took a smaller buy here on USD Canada, but it seems like the dollar is a bit weak. I don't really see any push, but yeah, I think the news were actually really bad for Canada. You see, but I think also on the other stuff, like maybe Nasdaq, USD, we saw Nasdaq pushing up, but I think interest rates and CPI, they just pushing the market to relax a little bit for now, actually.
Yeah, it's been you know, that's something to think about too, guys. When it comes to markets, they're forward looking, and as you just mentioned there, Kenzo, next week we do have the June 14th meeting, which will be highly anticipated for not just US dollar pairs, not just NASDAQ, but really every market. We'll be paying close attention to what the Fed's next move is, especially, Kenzo, following a week where we had two central banks rate hike unexpectedly. We had the Australian Central Bank, followed by the Bank of Canada, raise their interest rates unexpectedly. So as we go into next week, I'd love to get your thoughts. I know we talk indices a lot together, which I'm always happy to talk. It's my favorite thing to trade. NASDAQ,
Yes.
S&P 500. Are you a buyer, or are you you know, do you have trades on, or are you just kind of neutral before a big week like this? How do you approach big upcoming news like that?
I'm actually bullish. But it's starting to get scary, especially when you say Australia and Canada, they actually push the interest rates. So that they might actually push also US to do the same, because it's getting to be obvious that, oh, the central banks, they increasing the rates. But it's still a bit difficult because we have CPI day before the FOMC. So we're gonna see if maybe things are, inflation still going down or not. But I have a belief that even if they did increase, I believe that they're not going to increase, because if we check the basis points now for US is 5.25 basis points, and the other ones, they were they were going very slow. So I think they were trying to catch up with US. So US was already far with their interest rate. So I think they might actually pause for them to catch up before maybe they increase. I believe we might see a very nice push to the upside.
Yeah, and Kenzo, to your point there, you might enjoy this. So this is one of our newer features that we've been working on our software, surrounding exactly what
Yes.
you just talked about, the central bank forecasts. And also, you know, you mentioned that interest rates in the US went higher much faster than many other places. The only one that really kept up with its speed was New Zealand, which has now actually started to taper off, right? We're seeing projections for the New Zealand central bank to you know, even rate cut now. And so when we talk about these other central banks, you know, raising rates unexpectedly, the US, remember, is ahead of the curve in terms of interest rate hikes. So if we go take a look at
Exactly.
the Canadian projections, Canadian projections are not really expected at this point to cut too dramatically. I mean, we just saw a rate hike. Things are expected to sort of stay elevated. You take a look at Australia. There is some expectations eventually to cut, but for the most part, it's much more lagging behind. So, in some ways, this paints a picture where for a little while, the US was raising rates much faster, and that was causing the dollar to appreciate very, very rapidly. But now you've kind of got some of these other central banks. You mentioned, the pound, right? The pound, very strong. Look at these central bank forecasts. The Bank of England is not expected to cut until Q3 2024. So again, it's an interesting thing to watch. So good points there all around when it comes to projections in terms of central banks, and perhaps, again, this NASDAQ is just so strong, breaking clean through resistance again. So how are you approaching this, Kenzo? Do you have trades open, or are you looking for pullbacks?
No, we closed the ones that we had yesterday. We actually bought yesterday, the time the market was playing around our support. Now we also see an area which seems to be, I see it was a resistance, and it seems like the market is going above that. So I'm waiting for the market to open. Maybe we can jump on that. But it seems like it's starting to run away, man. I think we might be late, but it's fine. I think it's better just to wait for the market to open.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is, you mentioned market open. For those of you guys who are less familiar with trading indices specifically, in the US at 9:30 a.m., we get the US stock exchange opening up, which causes a surge in volume when it comes to the indices across the board as traders buy and sell the underlying stocks, buy the ETFs, that sort of thing. It causes volatility. And so, as we approach that 9:30 mark, which is about 34 minutes away, if you get sudden surge in volume, this thing could very quickly come right back down. And so, we may get still an opportunity here. I like that pullback. We'll see if that can come into play. And then, of course, same thing for the S&P 500. We've seen a nice breakout here this morning. Seems like there's just so much strength in these indices. What are your thoughts also, Kenzo? We've talked indices. What do you think about gold here today?
Gold, actually, this thing is playing games. As we coming from a very nice structure, I think currently the market is actually on a bullish momentum, but we're struggling to break this resistance. There is a resistance there. The market is struggling to break that. But because of Canada, just because implement change was a bit negative, we know that Canada and gold, I think Canada, they have enough reserves of gold. The time the market was going negative, we saw a spike pushing to the upside. But again, it tried to reverse. I still believe that when the market opens, when US market opens, I still believe that we will see a push to the upside. Yeah, now the market might be playing around the resistance, but I'm expecting a very nice push to the upside.
Yeah, and it's when it comes to that point that you made with the Canadian jobs numbers coming out here this morning, one point that I think is really important to make is that sometimes people forget that it's not only the US dollar that can impact the price of gold, right? Today, we see weak jobs numbers coming out from Canada, and it clearly had a strong impact on gold initially. We saw gold push above, which is what you might expect, right? Weak jobs, concern there, gold rallies. But again, resistance seems to be holding. And to your point there, it'll be interesting to see if this kind of in the next couple candles is able to recapture that and perhaps even break out and hold those levels. I think, to me, that would be a really bullish signal. If we're able to break and close above this 1970 mark, the market may just be taking a bit of profit there, maybe just pulling back off of this high. But again, I think that today's news adds fire to the bullish case for gold right now in terms of fundamentals. We'll just have to watch to see if this price is able to break out.
Yes, and you're right, because mostly, unfortunately, for those who don't know, when it comes to fundamentals, especially on gold, it doesn't actually spike immediately most of the time. So we might see a very nice, it seems to be like a bearish now, Later on, it might fly because that people, they still thinking about, they still processing whatever that happened. And we know very well that it's still going to push to the upside. Plus, let's say maybe it's still waiting for the thing is we have enough economic news. We also have FOMC also. Everyone's just going to combine those news. But we know, for those who don't know actually, Canada, or let's say a few countries, they have enough reserves of gold, and they also have impact on gold, like Australia and other countries. Similar to oil, US have enough oil and other countries. So if things are going negative or positive, mostly you will see a correlation with that. So on this one, I'm expecting a very nice push. But I think
Yep.
maybe if you check USD Canada now, I see it's not pushing to the upside that crazy. As we had the news, it seems like it's on a resistant. And when we check gold, it's also on resistant. So when we see that breakout, it might also break out on gold. That's what I think.
Yeah,
See,
it
they're
makes
all
sense.
playing
I
around
mean,
the resistance.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is, this is to the point of CAD jobs numbers having impact on gold. I think, and I'm agreeing with you for sure that these jobs numbers showing weakness in the Canadian dollar should have some sort of positive lift on gold. Again, the only thing that I would be personally waiting for, and it seems like you're in the same camp, is this resistance to break. Again, we're seeing some reaction to this area, but technicals have a strong play in the market as well. And we see that kind of holding for now. It will be interesting to see, as I mentioned earlier, if we're able to capture above, close above any sort of pullback, I would say has a nice fundamental catalyst as well as a technical catalyst on that side. And then, in terms of where it could go, I think your next area of resistance, at least that I have marked, is this 1980 mark, where we saw resistance. That's a $10 move on the price of gold, which is a pretty good
Yes, yeah.
jump there. So zone to zone kind of concept. So yeah, it's an interesting time, and of course, Kenzo, next week is a crazy week with lots of stuff. Maybe we can talk you into coming on to a second stream next week. It is so busy, and I'd love to get your commentary during all the stuff. So maybe we can work something out where you come back then.
Yeah, I think maybe from Tuesday. We have CPI on Tuesday. We also have retail sales. We also have FOMC. On Thursday, we have, I think it's unemployment claims. I think the whole week we can have something. I think we have we can have a high impact news. So there is something to talk about there, you see.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kenzo, we are planning on some of those big days that you mentioned where we have retail sales and several things. We're planning on doing some long streams. So maybe maybe I'll ask the producers. Well, they can hear us. Maybe we can coordinate something where you come back and contribute, because again, that way we can get your commentary as things are happening. But Kenzo, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We'll send you some details if you'd like to join us for next week's show. And before you head out, let me just remind guys, make sure to go check out Kenzo's channel. Again, I always enjoy having Kenzo on. He's got great fundamental and technical commentary on what's going on in the markets. And go show him some love. Extra Hot Forex on YouTube here. You can find his channel linked in the chat right now. Kenzo, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you very much, man. See you next week.
See you next week. Awesome. Yep, Kenzo's always great to have on the channel. Definitely one of my favorite guests to have on. You guys like Kenzo? Type yes to the chat if you're a Kenzo fan. I certainly am myself. So weird reaction here, guys, to gold. Resistance 1970 holding very, very strong. And I'm watching to see if it can get back up to here at all, right? It seems like big resistance coming in. But again, I like the fundamentals, right? I like the fundamentals. Jobs numbers concerning here this morning out of Canada. I mean, if I can get the breakout, I'll be looking for it. Cool. Lots of you guys like Kenzo. Yes, he's awesome. Always great commentary, and I love his accent. I think his accent's really cool. Yes. So, guys, before we continue, let me make sure to remind you guys in terms of our new central bank forecasts, in terms of the COT data, the retail sentiment tab, all of our stuff. Today is the official last day of our summer EDGEFINDER discount sale. If you guys do not have access to the EDGEFINDER and you're a fan of the channel, I'm going to remind you how you can get access today for the biggest discount, 50% off for the summer. Here's how you could do it. Click this link right here, message us right now, and someone from our team will get you in on the sale before it ends today. If you've been watching the channel, if you're a fan, if you've been wanting the EDGEFINDER for yourself, if you've been waiting for an opportunity to pick it up, this is the day. Click this link. It's going to take you to an opportunity where you can send a direct message to one of our team members. So again, we have several people on our staff that help to build and assist traders with the software. Click this link. It's going to open up a chat window. Click tell me about your summer sale offer, and it'll connect you immediately with a live chat to someone on our team who you can talk to right now about the sale, and we can work something out with you. We do usually offer payment plans up front, but if you guys are interested and you can't make the whole payment today, we do offer payment plans as well. If this is something you want to lock in at the sale discount rate, again, take advantage, click that link. And guys, we'll see you back in the next show. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
Man, getting a nice tan out here. How you doing?
Dude, I'm getting cooked by the sun and by this Euro Yen trade I'm stuck in. I took a sell trade.
Dude, you need the EDGEFINDER.
The EDGEFINDER?
Yeah, if you had the EDGEFINDER, you would have known that smart money was actually long.
Really? So you're telling me I was selling when smart money was long, and if I had the EDGEFINDER, I would have known that?
Exactly.
Pass me one of those EDGEFINDERs. Let me get one of those. Get our biggest discount of the summer. Get access to the EDGEFINDER, our MT4 and MT5 softwares, indicators, and robots, all in a single 20% off discount offer. Take advantage using the links and promo codes down below in the description.